Have you ever walked into a room full of people, said something, and felt like your words just evaporated into thin air? Or maybe you sent a heartfelt message only to be met with silence. It's frustrating, isn't it? Almost like you're invisible, like your voice doesn't carry the weight it should. And you start asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Why do people keep ignoring me? Let's pause here for a moment and consider this. What if the problem isn't you, but the signals you're sending? What if being ignored isn't about your inherent worth, but about the way others are perceiving you? The good news is that you can change this narrative instantly. Yes, instantly. Many people believe that being noticed is some kind of innate talent, that you're either born with charisma or you're not. But that's a misconception. You don't need to be loud, aggressive, or fake to command attention. What you do need is clarity, self-awareness, and the ability to project your presence in a way that others can't help but respect. So why is this important? Because being heard isn't just about recognition, it's about connection. It's about forming relationships that feel fulfilling, whether they're stoic relationships or deeply emotional bonds. It's about knowing your worth, projecting it authentically, and creating the life you deserve. In this conversation, we're not just going to scratch the surface, we're diving deep into the reasons people might be ignoring you and how to flip the script right now. By the end of this, you'll have practical, transformative tools grounded in stoicism and timeless principles of human connection. These tools won't just help you feel heard, they'll help you grow into the kind of person who commands respect effortlessly. Let's uncover the truth. 1. The psychology behind being ignored. Understanding why people might ignore you begins with recognizing the subconscious mechanisms that guide human interaction. Every person operates within a complex web of perceptions, habits, and biases that shape how they engage with the world and with you. When someone doesn't respond to you, whether in a conversation or a social setting, it's rarely personal in the way it feels. More often, it's a reflection of how their mind processes the interaction or fails to. One major factor at play is the human brain's tendency to prioritize information that feels urgent, relevant, or emotionally compelling. In a world brimming with distractions, people's attention spans have become shorter, forcing them to filter out anything that doesn't immediately stand out. When you speak or interact, others are unconsciously deciding, does this matter to me right now? If the answer is no, whether due to how you present yourself, the way you communicate, or external distractions, they may tune out. This filtering process doesn't mean you're unworthy of attention. Instead, it's about the signals you're sending and whether they align with what others are primed to notice. These signals are often subtle. The tone of your voice, your posture, your energy level, or the clarity of your message. For instance, if you speak softly or trail off, others may unconsciously interpret this as a lack of conviction, even if what you're saying is important. Similarly, if your body language appears closed off, arms crossed, head down, it can unintentionally convey that you're disengaged, making it easier for others to dismiss your presence. Another layer to this is the energy you bring to interactions. Humans are highly sensitive to nonverbal cues, even if they don't realize it. If you approach a situation with hesitation, uncertainty, or self-doubt, others are likely to mirror that energy. This isn't about blame, it's about awareness. Often when people feel ignored, their first reaction is to withdraw further or to try harder in ways that feel forced or unnatural. Both responses can perpetuate the cycle. Pulling back may confirm others' subconscious impression that your presence isn't impactful, while overcompensating might come across as desperate or insincere. Let's take a moment to examine how you view yourself. When you walk into a room or join a conversation, what's your inner dialogue? Are you thinking, I have something valuable to contribute? Or are you wondering if you're going to be overlooked? That internal narrative shapes not only your behavior but also the way others respond to you. If you approach interactions with a mindset of self-worth, it subtly influences your tone, expressions, and posture, creating a ripple effect that draws people in. Conversely, if you doubt your value, it can unintentionally signal others to do the same. Being ignored often feels deeply personal because it taps into a primal human need, the need to be seen, heard, and understood. But it's essential to recognize that other people's responses to you are not solely about you. They're also about their own mental and emotional states. Someone might ignore you not because you lack value, but because they're preoccupied, overwhelmed, or simply not attuned to the moment. This perspective can be freeing because it shifts the focus away from self-blame and toward curiosity. What can I do differently to shift the dynamic? Take this idea further by reflecting on patterns in your interactions. Are there specific situations where you feel ignored more often? Maybe it happens in group settings where louder voices dominate the conversation. Or perhaps it's with certain individuals who seem perpetually distracted. Identifying these patterns can help you approach those moments more strategically. For example, in group discussions, finding ways to contribute early, before the conversation picks up speed, can establish your presence. With individuals who seem distracted, directly addressing their focus, "Hey, do you have a minute to talk?" can reset their attention. Stoic philosophy offers a valuable lens here. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When you feel ignored, it's easy to spiral into frustration or self-doubt, focusing on the external behavior of others. But true strength lies in redirecting your energy inward. What can you control in this situation? How can you show up in a way that aligns with your values, regardless of how others respond? One powerful mindset shift is to view moments of being ignored as opportunities for self-reflection rather than rejection. Instead of asking, "Why don't they notice me?" consider asking, "What am I communicating intentionally or unintentionally that might affect how they perceive me?" This question isn't about self-criticism, it's about curiosity and growth. It's about taking ownership of the aspects of interaction you can influence while letting go of the rest. When you approach interactions with this mindset, you begin to see the subtle yet impactful ways you can shift dynamics. Perhaps it's adjusting your tone to convey more confidence, using pauses for emphasis, or maintaining steady eye contact. Maybe it's as simple as being fully present in the moment, giving others your undivided attention so they're compelled to reciprocate. Small changes in how you carry yourself can have a profound impact on how others perceive you. Ultimately, the experience of being ignored isn't a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of perception. And perceptions can be shifted. By understanding the psychology behind these moments and making conscious adjustments, you can break the cycle. You can walk into a room or join a conversation with the quiet assurance that your presence matters, not because others say so, but because you know it does. That internal conviction is the foundation of being seen and heard. It starts with you. 2. The energy you're giving off. Energy is everything. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. People respond to energy even before they consciously process the words you're speaking. Think about the times when someone entered a room and their presence instantly demanded attention, not because they were loud or overbearing, but because they radiated confidence and ease. That kind of energy is magnetic, and it's something you can cultivate. Now, on the flip side, have you ever noticed when someone walks in and seems closed off? Their shoulders might be hunched, their voice hesitant, their gaze focused anywhere but on the people around them. It's not that they're invisible, but the energy they're projecting makes others less likely to engage. Here's the truth. Most of us don't even realize the energy we're giving off. It's not intentional. It's often a reflection of what's happening internally, self-doubt, overthinking, or even a fear of rejection. This doesn't mean you need to become someone you're not. It's not about faking a bubbly personality or pretending to be overly confident. Instead, it's about aligning your internal mindset with the message you want to send. People pick up on authenticity. When you approach a situation with calm confidence and a sense of purpose, that energy is contagious. It makes people want to listen. Let's break it down. The energy you project starts with your physical presence. When you stand tall, maintain an open posture, and make eye contact, you're already signaling to others that you're someone worth noticing. Compare this to someone who avoids eye contact, crosses their arms, or fidgets. The difference is subtle but powerful. Your nonverbal cues speak volumes before you even say a word. But here's the kicker. The most important part of your energy isn't physical, it's mental. If your inner voice is filled with self-doubt, it will seep into your tone, your body language, and the way you carry yourself. On the other hand, when you approach a situation with the mindset that your words and presence have value, people will naturally pick up on that belief. Confidence is quiet. It's not about being the loudest person in the room. It's about being grounded and certain in who you are. You might be wondering, how do I shift my energy if I don't naturally feel confident? The answer lies in small, intentional actions. Start by focusing on your breathing. Taking slow, steady breaths before entering a conversation can calm your nerves and center your thoughts. Next, practice being fully present. Instead of worrying about what others are thinking or how you're coming across, focus on the moment. Listen actively, respond thoughtfully, and allow yourself to connect with the people around you. Another key shift is to start seeing interactions as opportunities rather than tests. Too often we enter conversations with the fear of failure. What if I say the wrong thing? What if they don't respond the way I hope? This mindset creates tension and blocks the natural flow of communication. Instead, view every interaction as a chance to learn, grow, and connect. Even if the response isn't what you expected, you'll have gained valuable insight for the next time. Let's be honest, this isn't something that happens overnight. Cultivating an energy that commands attention takes practice and self-awareness. But the good news is that every step you take, no matter how small, moves you closer to that goal. Remember, people aren't just responding to your words, they're responding to your presence. When you align your internal belief with your external energy, you become someone others naturally want to engage with. Now, I want to hear from you. If this resonates with you, let me know by hitting that like button and dropping a comment with the words #1 below. I'd love to know if this message is connecting with you because it helps me understand what kind of content you find valuable. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe so you can stay updated with more insights like these. Together, we're learning how to show up as our best selves, and I don't want you to miss a thing. Here's your challenge. The next time you walk into a room or join a conversation, take a deep breath, stand tall, and remind yourself that your voice matters. People will feel the shift in your energy, and you'll begin to notice a difference in how they respond. It might feel subtle at first, but over time, these small shifts will lead to big changes. Trust me, you're on the right path. Let me know how it works for you, and I'll see you in the comments. 3. How your communication style might be the problem. Let's talk about the way you communicate. Often the issue isn't that you're being ignored because of who you are, but rather how you're presenting your ideas, thoughts, or feelings. Communication is a skill, and like any skill, it can either enhance your presence or diminish it. If you've ever felt like your words don't carry weight, or that people tune out when you speak, it's worth taking a closer look at your communication style. The way you express yourself can sometimes create barriers without you even realizing it. For instance, speaking in a monotone voice can make even the most interesting ideas sound dull. Similarly, rambling or providing too much information without clear structure can overwhelm listeners, causing them to disengage. On the other hand, being overly concise to the point of withholding necessary details can make your contributions feel incomplete or unimportant. One common mistake is failing to tailor your message to your audience. Think about it. Every person processes information differently. Some people respond best to stories and examples that paint a vivid picture, while others prefer clear, straightforward points. If you're not considering your audience's perspective, your message may fail to resonate, even if it's meaningful and well thought out. The art of communication lies in striking the right balance between being authentic to yourself and adapting to the needs of those you're speaking with. Another challenge is how your tone and body language align with your words. Communication isn't just verbal, it's a full-body experience. If you're saying something important but your posture is slouched, your voice is soft, or your gestures are minimal, it creates a disconnect. People pick up on these nonverbal cues, often subconsciously, and they may interpret them as a lack of conviction or interest. Conversely, speaking with energy, maintaining open body language, and making eye contact can amplify the impact of your words. But what about listening? It's often overlooked, but listening is just as crucial to effective communication as speaking. If you're not fully engaged in what others are saying, it becomes harder to respond in a way that feels relevant and meaningful to them. Active listening involves more than just hearing. It's about showing through your responses, questions, and expressions that you truly understand and value what's being shared. When you listen deeply, people feel seen and heard, which naturally makes them more likely to return that energy when it's your turn to speak. Then there's the issue of timing. Sometimes the way we communicate fails simply because it's not the right moment. If someone is distracted, stressed, or focused on something else, even the most compelling message can fall flat. Learning to read the room and assess whether your timing is appropriate is an underrated yet powerful communication skill. Pausing to ask yourself, is this the right moment to bring this up, can prevent misunderstandings and ensure that your words land when they're most likely to be received. Improving your communication style doesn't mean becoming someone you're not. It's about refining how you express yourself so that your voice carries the weight it deserves. Start by practicing clarity. Before you speak, take a moment to organize your thoughts. What's the main point you want to convey? How can you make it concise without losing its essence? Imagine you're crafting a short, impactful message that leaves no room for misinterpretation. The more precise your words, the more power they carry. At the same time, don't underestimate the power of storytelling. Humans are wired to connect with narratives. They evoke emotion, make abstract concepts relatable, and help people remember your message. Sharing a brief, relevant story or example can instantly capture attention and make your point more memorable. Think about how you can weave personal experiences, metaphors, or analogies into your communication to engage your audience on a deeper level. Ultimately, improving your communication style is a journey of awareness and adaptation. Pay attention to how people respond when you speak. Are they engaged, asking questions, or giving affirming cues like nodding? Or do they seem distracted or indifferent? Use this feedback to fine-tune your approach. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. With time, you'll find that even small adjustments in your tone, timing, and delivery can make a world of difference. By refining how you communicate, you'll not only feel more confident in expressing yourself, but also create deeper, more meaningful connections with others. Communication isn't just about being heard. It's about creating a dialogue that leaves everyone involved feeling valued and understood. When you master this balance, you'll no longer worry about being ignored. Instead, you'll find yourself becoming someone others naturally want to listen to. 4. Mastering the art of active listening. One of the biggest misconceptions about being noticed is that it's all about how well you speak or present yourself. While those things are important, there's a less obvious yet incredibly powerful skill that instantly makes people gravitate toward you: active listening. It's a paradox, but to truly be heard, you first need to focus on hearing others. Think about the last time you felt truly heard. Maybe someone listened to your story without interrupting, validated your feelings, or asked thoughtful follow-up questions that showed they genuinely cared. That feeling is rare, isn't it? Most people are so busy waiting for their turn to speak, or thinking about what they're going to say next, that they don't fully engage in the moment. This lack of attention is what makes active listening so magnetic. When you practice it, you stand out in a world where everyone else is distracted. Active listening isn't just about hearing the words someone says. It's about understanding the meaning, emotion, and intent behind them. It's about being fully present. That means putting your phone down, maintaining eye contact, and nodding or giving subtle affirmations to show that you're engaged. It also means asking meaningful questions that let the other person know you're truly interested in what they're sharing. For example, instead of just saying, "That's interesting," try something like, "What made you feel that way?" Or, "How did that experience change your perspective?" These questions don't just keep the conversation flowing, they also make the speaker feel valued. What's amazing about active listening is that it creates a ripple effect. When you listen deeply to someone, they feel seen and understood. In turn, they're more likely to open up and value your presence. This exchange builds trust and connection, which are the foundation of being noticed and respected. It's a subtle yet transformative shift that can change the way people perceive you. Of course, like any skill, active listening takes practice. Start by giving your full attention in conversations, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. If your mind starts to wander, or you catch yourself forming a response before the other person is done speaking, gently bring yourself back to the present moment. Remind yourself that the goal isn't to win the conversation or prove a point, it's to connect. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes, and the more people will start to notice you, not because you're the loudest, but because you make them feel heard. Let's take this a step further. Once you've practiced being fully present, try mirroring the speaker's language. This doesn't mean copying their words, but rather reflecting back what they've said in your own way to show you're processing their message. For example, if someone says, "I've been feeling really overwhelmed at work," you might respond with, "It sounds like work has been really stressful for you lately. What's been the hardest part?" This simple technique not only validates their feelings but also encourages them to share more, deepening the connection. Now, here's where the magic happens. When you consistently practice active listening, people begin to associate you with a sense of comfort, respect, and authenticity. They're drawn to you not because you dominate the conversation, but because you create space for meaningful dialogue. Over time, this builds your reputation as someone worth noticing and engaging with. If this idea of connecting through active listening resonates with you, let me know by hitting that like button and commenting number 1 down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how listening deeply has impacted your relationships or interactions. And if you're finding value in this conversation, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on future tips to elevate your presence and communication skills. Remember, being noticed doesn't have to mean being the loudest or the most assertive person in the room. Sometimes the most powerful way to stand out is to quiet your own voice and make space for others. That's the essence of active listening. It's a skill that not only helps you connect with others, but also transforms the way they see you. Try it out today and watch how the energy in your interactions begins to shift. I'm excited to hear how it works for you. 5. Building presence through nonverbal cues. Words may convey your message, but it's your nonverbal communication that often determines whether people pay attention or tune you out. The way you carry yourself, your posture, gestures, facial expressions, and overall demeanor sends powerful signals before you even open your mouth. In fact, studies have shown that the majority of communication is nonverbal. This means that even if your words are compelling, the impact can be lost if your body language doesn't align with your message. Let's start with posture. When you enter a room or engage in a conversation, the way you stand or sit speaks volumes. A slouched posture or closed-off stance can inadvertently signal insecurity or disinterest, making it easier for others to overlook you. On the other hand, standing tall with your shoulders back and chest open conveys confidence and readiness. This isn't about appearing intimidating, it's about signaling that you're present and engaged. Eye contact is another critical aspect of nonverbal communication. Maintaining steady, natural eye contact shows that you're paying attention and that you value the person you're speaking to. However, too little eye contact can make you seem distracted or uninterested, while too much can feel intense or even uncomfortable. The key is balance. Aim to hold eye contact for a few seconds at a time before looking away briefly, creating a rhythm that feels natural and connected. Your facial expressions also play a significant role in how others perceive you. A warm, genuine smile can instantly make you more approachable and likable, while a neutral or tense expression may create a barrier. Even if you're feeling nervous or uncertain, practicing relaxed, open expressions can help put both you and the other person at ease. This doesn't mean forcing a smile or trying to appear overly enthusiastic. It's about letting your face reflect a calm, engaged demeanor that invites connection. Gestures, too, can either enhance or detract from your message. For example, using your hands to emphasize key points can make your communication more dynamic and engaging. However, excessive or erratic hand movements can be distracting and take away from what you're saying. Keep your gestures intentional and aligned with the tone of your message. When in doubt, Keep them subtle yet expressive enough to reinforce your words. Then there's the tone and pace of your voice, which are closely tied to your nonverbal presence. Speaking too quickly can make you seem anxious, while speaking too slowly might come across as hesitant. Aim for a steady, conversational pace that allows your words to sink in. Similarly, varying your tone, emphasizing keywords, or pausing for effect can make your speech more compelling. Avoid monotony, as it tends to disengage listeners no matter how important the content of your message may be. Proximity and physical space are also subtle yet impactful aspects of nonverbal communication. Respecting personal boundaries is crucial, as standing too close can feel intrusive, while staying too far away may seem disengaged. Be mindful of cultural differences and social cues to gauge the appropriate level of proximity in any interaction. One often overlooked but critical element of nonverbal presence is your energy. Even if your posture, gestures, and tone are technically correct, people will sense if your energy feels inauthentic or disconnected. Energy isn't about being loud or overly animated, it's about projecting a sense of calm confidence and genuine interest. This inner alignment radiates outward and makes others naturally gravitate toward you. Developing strong nonverbal communication skills requires awareness and practice. Start by observing your own habits. Do you tend to cross your arms or avoid eye contact when you're uncomfortable? Do you speak too quickly when you're nervous? Becoming aware of these tendencies is the first step toward improvement. Practice in low-stakes environments, such as casual conversations with friends or colleagues, to build confidence in using open, intentional body language. You can also observe others who exude strong presence. Notice how they use their posture, gestures, and expressions to command attention without forcing it. Incorporate what resonates with you into your own interactions, adapting these elements to suit your personality and style. The beauty of nonverbal communication is that small, consistent changes can make a big difference. By focusing on your posture, eye contact, facial expressions, and overall energy, you'll not only feel more confident but also naturally draw people toward you. Over time, these adjustments will become second nature, transforming the way you connect with others and ensuring that your presence is felt even before you speak. 6. The power of setting boundaries. One of the most overlooked reasons why people might ignore you is the absence of clear boundaries. When you allow others to interrupt, dismiss, or disregard you without addressing it, you unintentionally send a message that your time, thoughts, and presence are not a priority. Setting boundaries doesn't just protect your energy, it also teaches others how to treat you. Think about a time when someone cut you off mid-sentence, dismissed your input, or repeatedly overlooked your contributions. How did you respond? If you let it slide, it's likely the behavior continued. This isn't because people are inherently disrespectful, but because they adapt to the dynamics you set. If you don't establish boundaries, others might assume it's acceptable to interrupt or ignore you, even if that's far from what you want. Boundaries aren't about confrontation, they're about clarity. When you calmly and respectfully express what you need, you create an environment where your voice has value. For example, if you're constantly being interrupted in meetings, you could say something like, "I'd like to finish my point before we move on, as I think it's important." This simple statement communicates your expectation without being combative, and over time, it trains others to respect your input. One of the most effective ways to set boundaries is to be assertive rather than aggressive. Assertiveness involves standing up for yourself in a way that's confident and respectful. It's about using I statements to express how you feel and what you need without blaming others. For instance, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," try, "I feel unheard when I'm interrupted, and I'd appreciate it if we could finish discussing my ideas before moving on." This approach opens the door to understanding and cooperation rather than defensiveness. Setting boundaries isn't limited to verbal interactions. Sometimes your actions speak louder than words. If someone frequently invades your personal space or interrupts your focus, stepping back physically or pausing the conversation until they're ready to engage respectfully can be just as effective. Nonverbal cues, like maintaining a calm demeanor and steady eye contact, reinforce the boundaries you're setting. It's also essential to remember that boundaries apply to your own behavior too. If you consistently downplay your ideas, apologize unnecessarily, or hesitate to speak up, you're creating a pattern where it's easier for others to overlook you. Setting boundaries with yourself means committing to valuing your voice and taking up space in conversations, even when it feels uncomfortable at first. Over time, this inner shift will reflect outwardly, making it clear to others that you expect to be treated with respect. Here's an important mindset shift. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're necessary for healthy relationships and effective communication. When you establish clear limits, you're not just protecting your own energy, you're also creating a framework for mutual respect. People will begin to see you as someone who values themselves and their time, which naturally commands attention and consideration. If this resonates with you, let me know by hitting that like button and dropping a comment with the words #1 below. I'd love to hear how you've set boundaries in your own life or where you'd like to start. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe for more insights like these. Boundaries are a game changer, and I'm here to guide you on this journey of reclaiming your space and your voice. Your challenge for today is to identify one small boundary you can set, whether it's speaking up in a conversation, protecting your time, or simply pausing to think before responding. When you take that step, you're not just teaching others to respect you, you're also reminding yourself that your voice matters. Let me know how it goes, and I'll see you in the comments. 7. Making your message irresistible. The way you craft and deliver your message has a profound impact on how it's received. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. A clear, engaging, and emotionally resonant message can capture attention in a way that feels effortless. On the other hand, a poorly structured or uninteresting delivery can cause even the most important ideas to go unnoticed. The first key to making your message irresistible is clarity. People are drawn to messages that are easy to understand and quick to grasp. This means avoiding unnecessary jargon, overcomplicated explanations, or rambling. Before you speak, ask yourself, what's the main point I want to convey? Then, deliver it in a way that's concise but still impactful. Think of it as giving your audience the headline first before diving into the details. When you're clear and to the point, your words naturally carry more weight. Next, consider the emotional resonance of your message. Humans are emotional creatures, and we tend to remember stories or ideas that make us feel something. Incorporating emotion into your communication doesn't mean being overly dramatic. It's about finding a way to connect with your audience on a deeper level. Sharing a personal anecdote, using a vivid metaphor, or highlighting the stakes of a situation can make your message more compelling and memorable. For instance, instead of saying, "We need to improve teamwork," you might say, "Imagine what we could achieve if we all pulled together as a true team, each of us bringing our strengths to the table like pieces of a puzzle." Storytelling is one of the most powerful tools for making your message stick. People are naturally drawn to narratives because they create a sense of connection and relatability. Even a simple story that illustrates your point can be far more effective than listing facts or statistics. For example, if you're trying to convince a group to embrace a new idea, you could share a short story about someone who benefited from that idea in a tangible way. Stories engage the imagination, evoke empathy, and make abstract concepts feel real. Another way to make your message irresistible is by understanding your audience's needs and framing your message around what matters most to them. Too often, people focus on what they want to say rather than what the listener needs to hear. Shift your perspective. Instead of asking, "How can I express myself clearly?" ask, "How can I make this meaningful to the person I'm speaking to?" This approach shows that you've considered their perspective, which naturally makes them more receptive. Your delivery also plays a significant role in how your message is received. A confident, engaging tone can make even a simple idea feel important, while a hesitant or monotone delivery can make even the best ideas fall flat. To enhance your delivery, practice speaking with energy and intention. Use pauses to emphasize key points, vary your tone to keep the listener engaged, and align your body language with your words. For instance, leaning slightly forward when making an important point or using hand gestures to illustrate an idea can reinforce your message and keep the listener's attention. Finally, don't underestimate the power of repetition. While it might feel redundant to repeat your key message, it's often necessary to ensure it sticks. People are bombarded with information every day, and it's easy for important points to get lost in the noise. By reiterating your main ideas in different ways, whether through examples, summaries, or direct statements, you reinforce their importance and make them more likely to be remembered. Ultimately, making your message irresistible is about creating a connection. It's about aligning your words with your energy, your delivery with your intent, and your content with your audience's needs. When you approach communication with this mindset, you'll find that your words don't just get heard, they make an impact. Over time, this approach will transform the way people perceive you and the influence you have in any setting. 8. Rebuilding self-worth along the way. Feeling ignored can take a toll on your confidence, leaving you questioning your value and your voice. But here's the truth. Being noticed and heard starts with you. It starts with rebuilding your self-worth and recognizing that your presence matters, regardless of how others may respond in the moment. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you cultivate. And as you work on this, you'll notice that people naturally begin to treat you differently. One of the most powerful ways to rebuild your self-worth is to shift your internal dialogue. Often the way we talk to ourselves is far more critical than the way others speak to us. When you hear that voice in your head saying, "You're not good enough," or "No one cares what you have to say," challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Replace those thoughts with affirmations like, "My voice matters," or "I have something valuable to contribute." At first, it might feel strange, but over time, these positive thoughts will become your new default. Another important step is to celebrate small wins. Maybe you spoke up in a meeting, even if it was just to share one idea. Maybe you made an effort to improve your body language or practiced active listening. Each of these small actions is a step toward building your confidence. By acknowledging your progress, you create a positive feedback loop that reinforces your growth. It's also essential to let go of the need for external validation. Yes, it feels good when people respond positively to you, but tying your self-worth to how others react can be a slippery slope. Instead, focus on showing up as your authentic self and trusting that your voice has value, whether or not it's immediately recognized. This shift in mindset can be incredibly freeing and empowering. Surrounding yourself with supportive people is another key aspect of rebuilding self-worth. When you're around those who genuinely value and encourage you, it becomes easier to see your own worth. Seek out friends, mentors, or communities where you feel safe and respected. These relationships can serve as a foundation for building the confidence to step into spaces where you might not feel as immediately welcomed. At the same time, don't shy away from constructive self-reflection. If you've been feeling ignored, ask yourself, are there specific habits or behaviors I can improve? Maybe you've been holding back from fully expressing yourself, or perhaps your tone of voice doesn't match the strength of your message. Self-reflection isn't about blaming yourself. It's about identifying areas for growth so you can show up more effectively and authentically. As you work on your self-worth, you'll begin to notice a subtle but powerful shift. When you walk into a room, your energy will naturally command more attention. When you speak, people will be drawn to the conviction in your voice. This isn't because you've suddenly become someone else. It's because you've started to believe in the value of your own presence. That belief is magnetic. If this idea of rebuilding self-worth resonates with you, let me know by hitting that like button and dropping a comment with the words #1 down below. I'd love to hear how you're working on building your confidence and how it's changing the way you show up in the world. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future insights and tips to help you grow into the person you're meant to be. Remember, rebuilding self-worth isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every small step you take to honor your voice and presence is a step toward becoming the person you've always had the potential to be. Keep going, because your journey is worth it, and so are you. I can't wait to hear how you're transforming your confidence. Share your story in the comments. Feeling ignored can be frustrating and disheartening, but it's not the end of the story. It's an opportunity, a chance to reflect, adjust, and grow into the person you've always had the potential to be. From understanding the psychology behind being overlooked to mastering communication, refining your energy, setting boundaries, and rebuilding self-worth, you now have the tools to flip the script. Remember, being seen and heard isn't about shouting the loudest or forcing your presence. It's about aligning your confidence, actions, and words in a way that naturally draws people in. It's about recognizing that your voice matters, not because others say so, but because you say so. When you carry that belief within yourself, others will begin to see it too. The path forward is about small, intentional steps. Implement what resonates with you, one piece at a time. Pay attention to the shifts in how you show up and how others respond. Over time, you'll find that commanding respect and attention becomes second nature. Ultimately, this journey is about more than just being noticed. It's about living authentically, building meaningful connections, and showing up as the best version of yourself. So go out there, embrace your value, and keep growing. The world needs your voice. Thank you for being here and investing in yourself. I'll see you in the next conversation.